Welcome to the Do It All Dad Year podcast, where Gen X parents understand controlling our kids with comedy can make our kids great again. And this is episode 91, Birth of a Family Man. Yesterday, my son, Archo USA, who's 5 now, went to use my right guard. And I said, Arthur, you don't need my right guard. You never smell. We don't even know what your farts smell like yet. Democrats defending babyface Omar's blatant anti-Semitism. When she tweeted Jews are all about the Benjamins, she meant Jews only care for Puff Daddy's earlier work before Suge Knight had Biggie gunned down on Wilshire Boulevard. Democrats trying to defend babyface Omar's blatant anti-Semitism again. When she tweeted Jews hypnotize the world, she only meant the devilish line of monopolistic, master, manipulator, Jewish magicians like David Copperfield and David Blaine. Duh! I want to bang Meghan McCain again. Real life Charlottesville Nazis demonize Jews as controlling, manipulative, money-driven demons. But using hip-hop lingo such as Benjamins makes the Somalian refugee congresswoman innocuous, like Solo Ice Cube's Wicked. Can I get a holla for some holla? General Kelly would have served under Hillary Clinton, aka Huma Liquor Breath. His son died a war hero. His sacrifice to our country doesn't cut any deeper. Still, a 4-star general doesn't know how to Google images of Tony Podesta's artwork? God, justice can't come soon enough. And let me put it this way, folks. Google Tony Podesta's artwork. It will make Marilyn Manson blush. Long time. How can you give Jared Kushner a security clearance? Are you kidding me? The only Jews less threatening than Jared Kushner are Ben Shapiro and Chelsea Clinton's husband. Good to know General Kelly still has the commander-in-chief's back, though. My chest. DNC doesn't want Fox to host any of the debates because they won't offer a fair and neutral debate. Isn't there a Fox affiliate in Switzerland? They only banned gummy bears in elementary schools there because they're not halal. At least white sauce has been banned yet. Can I get a holla for some holla? This is me explaining to my wife what's the dossier. I can't even say it. I'm afraid to say dossier. It's a bad word. It's a bad word by evil, right-wing conspiracy jerk-offs. It's my wife. What's the dossier? This is me. A made-up memo about Russia forcing Americans to vote for Trump with instilled pop-up Drago clones in voting booths, insisting, vote Trump or I'll break you. Again, wife's not getting it. Not getting the jokes. But I don't understand the Drago reference. I have to understand the reference. It's too abstract. Enough with your Gen X references that sound more dated than Yiddish at this stage of my life for this millennial Mouseketeer. Wife, what's the Russia dossier? Euro trashy pulp fiction about prostitutes and kinky requests, which form the basis for killing Zoe. Again, enough with the Gen X references. I don't care. You invented the internet. before it became the garbage heap that it became. Congratulations, wife. I'm going to ask you one more time. What's the dossier? I made a memo about Smirnov Vodka's attack campaign against every East Coast elitist who only drinks Grey Goose on the rocks for $17 a pop at the W in downtown Manhattan. All right, I'm only going to ask you one more time. Cousin, what's the dossier? A memo about Trump trying to push Trump hotel expansion into Midtown St. Petersburg because everyone in America confuses Melania for Russian anyway. Can I get a holla for some holla? Trump has ties to Russia. Yeah, most mail order bride owners do. Booyah, tribe! I did that joke, which is probably now like 2 years old for myself at Stop and Shop. Got like complete resistance. And I went on this resident. Oh, I'm sorry. We can't make fun of Melania because she speaks 6 different languages and she is class personified and she's above reproach. But it's a well constructed joke. So anyone that can't laugh at that joke can blow me. What's all said and done, finally, thank God, I have an interview next week with a company that refers to themselves as the Netflix of podcasting or the IMDb of podcasting. They're positioning themselves as the premier online marketplace to distribute and monetize, meaning making money for podcasters, all in the same spot. Obviously, I need to tweak the pitch a tad if I'm going to thrive as their new content manager in the U.S., based in New York City, my hometown, which I'm very excited about. It's my understanding that this position would be the equivalent of me being a talent agent for podcasters because they just got like 35 million in financing and their mission statement is to monetize, meaning make more money for podcasters, which I think is a great noble mission because as far as I'm concerned, podcasting is the last bastion that is immune from all these attacks regarding freedom of speech. So especially if you don't even have advertisers and you just pay a subscription, then you don't have to bite your tongue and you don't have to worry about making fun of babyface Omar and her blatant anti-Semitism. So, and there's Clive Davis. A lot of people don't know Clive Davis, but he's a big shot in the music business. You find it Janice and a bunch of other people. But the opportunity to be a Clive Davis for the podcast industry would be great. And also, I wouldn't mind, getting some more insight as to how to monetize this podcast and start bringing home some major bacon. But it doesn't take a brain trust. I mean, bottom line, if all of a sudden, I'm able to generate 20,000 monthly listeners, which I think is like around the same as like Sam Harris does, then, you're making bank. I mean, I'm a degenerate Jew right now, so I'm completely drawing a blanks on numbers, but we can make like $100,000, and that's great. And then I can actually get back to this world. So that'd be awesome. I'll have to like donate like a new parenting book wing with like just my books for like every library that I've lounged in for the past 8 years. Stay-at-home comedian. But Sam Harris, I really wish that guy had a speck of personality. I mean, this guy's brutal. Makes Jordan Harris come across like Donald Trump and Dice on steroids. So anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so the company's called Acast, Acost, Acacia Cortez. No, it's Acast, and I feel like an outcast. Totally feel like an outcast. I feel like there's no stay-at-home dad that doesn't feel like an outcast, especially if you're pro-Trumpian and can't keep your mouth shut. Especially when blatant anti-Semites like Omar try to demonize Israel, which UN's done forever, but it's just ridiculous. I never thought that. I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was in Arizona. I don't get it. Why do people hate us so much? And I mean, Israel is so tiny. I mean, I think it's a jealousy thing, but I don't. It's a very unhealthy obsession, and I don't. I, oh, dude, she's just criticizing Israel. No, she's perpetuating endless Nazi normalizing stereotypes, such as Jews being money grubbing evil people that just buy influence and convince US lawmakers to defend Israel because they pay them off. But when it's all said and done, they're the only actual living symbol of democratic light, and they have like phenomenal health care. They take care of the Palestinians. They just don't respond in regard to like missile attacks in their backyard like haphazardly. And it's really amazing what Israel's done in that country, knowing that everyone has made a blatant effort to completely wipe them off the face of the planet. I mean, there's still education that these kids are taught. It's in the books. I mean, it's in the literature, and the UN knows about all of this, about like them eating, you know, Christian baby blood, and the horns and all this stuff. So it's just I don't believe in this day and age that this rampant, widespread hatred towards Jews still exists. And the fact that like now we're in a country in America post Obama where we're afraid of calling out actual hatred from Muslims, especially in our own US government, when there's no other way to frame her remarks. So it's the fear of offending the other. And then we got to hear about hate crimes. Well, what are these hate crimes against Muslims? Really, what are these hate crimes? I mean, are people, are a bunch of like white nationalists like crashing Astoria and heckling like Muslims like during like the call to prayer? Like, are they saying, clear your throat already? So, I don't know. But I'm glad I was able to explain what the dossier is. Very, very happy with those clarifications. So this is me yesterday. I'm at a wine shop at 3 p.m. I buy a bottle of fine Kentucky bourbon to celebrate my daughter's 8th birthday and getting published again on the Good Man Project. The cashier says, would you like a bag? And I said, not unless I want to come off as a high-end hobo in broad daylight. She laughed. But yesterday, my firstborn, Matilda Siganrose Cornbooth, celebrated her 8th birthday in this old, beautiful world. And that day also celebrated the birth of me becoming an American dad family man, minus the pension and job stability. I don't believe I've been a father for 8 years. Unbelievable. Wasn't planned. Again, I remember like it was yesterday. My wife saying, I'm pregnant. At the time, all I thought to myself was, just tell her it's her choice, but then push for the abortion and don't be a pussy about it. Obviously, I'm glad I didn't, because Matilda has been nothing but a source of nonstop joy from the beginning. There's this girl who's a good friend of my wife's down in Arizona. She's very connected, and she said that Matilda was my mother, or like a mother character, or like my idealized mother, like the real encouraging mother that believes in all my actuality and potential and dreams, which I thought was very funny, but like very eerily true, like all at the same time. And but with Matilda, I remember when I used to drop her off at daycare. We used to re-listen to Green Day, which she loved. This is like a 2. And back then we could only afford daycare for like a day. And I remember crying, like dropping her off, saying, I have to drop you off. Dad's got to get work done. I got to write. At this point, I was unemployed, and I had not gotten my TV writing break, but I dug deep, and one thing leads to another. I'd taken a copywriting course in Manhattan with Media Bistro with Kim Taylor. She read a bunch of my scripts. She goes, "You have a real talent for this." And then she told me about Amazon and them accepting pilots. And then I wrote Heavy Metal High. And then I met this guy Jay Moran in at this party in Red Hook. This guy Perry I used to be friends with, who's been a good friend. He was a good friend. Was always a good friend to me when we were friends. And we got stoned. We talked about Jeff Ross, and I sent him some blog that I wrote. Had to do with like music or making fun of millennials. I don't know, but he had no freaking use for it. But the point being is, I remember him telling me that he was a producer on that metal show, and then I'd written Heavy Metal High, so it seemed like an ideal audience for it. So I cold called him, and then he calls me. I'm in Maine with my in-laws and freezing my balls off in October, and all of a sudden he says, "Hey, I need a writer for America's Hot 100. You'd have to write all these intros for all these music videos. Chris Jericho will be the host, the wrestler. Are you interested?" Yes. Okay, but you need a writing sample, and I did it. It was great because I was able to cut the vacation short with the in-laws, and I got it. I was interested as a writer that day. It was amazing. I was interested as a writer at Viacom, at corporate, in my city. That's what women would say. It was a beautiful day. Beautiful day. And I got to admit, folks, that week, I was working, it was a consulting assignment. I was the only writer. I was a head writer. Hundreds of intros. And I had no music writing experience at all whatsoever. But I did have passion. I did have knowledge. And I did have writing chops. And it showed. And it was great to know that I was able to perform under pressure. I was working from 9 to 10:30, and I was still working at night on the train back home to Westchester. But that was the best week of my life work-wise because I really love what I was doing. And the job at Acast could be the second best thing. I'll be back in the city. I'll be able to actually hang out in comedy clubs and recruit talent for the platform. That is a noble mission, helping other comedians and artists and writers and philosophers and anyone with a brain and with a strong American voice to make money from podcasting. And what better way, to promote, the remote work revolution than helping podcasters make money from home that allows them to spend more time with their kids, help make their kids make our country great again. So I am completely on board. So I'm very excited. So I will keep you guys updated, and we'll see what happens next. Stifling debate about Mid-East policy. Demonize Israel for defending its right to exist is the UN's policy of radical terrorist empowerment. Not in Trump's world, but Cortez confuses the Bronx for Yorktown Heights, so she's mentally challenged to begin with. This Pelosi defending babyface Omar. Lawmakers support Israel because they're getting paid off is nonsense. All Omar was trying to say was the New York Times ignored the Holocaust until it became impossible to ignore. So no worries knowing the New York Times got our back. New Urban Dictionary submission. Anti-Semitism. Meaningless if you're a Muslim in a post-Obama America, even if they insist the Iran deal was the deal of the century for Israel. Trump constantly calls out Nazi scum for the dirtbag dregs of society they are, yet precious rep babyface Omar is held to the same social standards as brainwash PLO intern gophers for Roger Waters. So this is me at my accountant's office today. He says, "Did you give anything to charity this year? And the immensity of your free jokes on Twitter don't count." I'm thinking, well, as of yesterday, I gave my office to my 8-year-old daughter against my will. So much for my unicorn theme resistance. Babyface Omar. I like that. a lot. Hope it goes viral. So, all right, one more impersonation of. So this is Nancy Pelosi defending Omar behind closed doors. Muslims will be Muslims. Let's not act like there was a love fest between the two religions in the first place. The Quran anoints Muslims as our chosen rulers, not Spielberg, Schultz, and Kushner. All right? This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast. Dad friendly entertainment for you and me. Controlling our kids with comedy can make our kids great again. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon.